Happy Monday. It is Monday afternoon. I've gotten most things accomplished. Not everything. There's a lot going on. Before I even got here, it was like the Mondayest Monday that I was ever having. So kids are in special, and I have a minute to just kind of breathe. So I'm just kind of processing how the day went so far and what we still need to do. So we started with science, just continuing on with our units about ecosystems, environments, working, living in groups, packs, flocks, kind of going through all that. We took a test on Friday, so I have to grade those. That's going on my to-do list for this week. Math, we are multiplying. We're using order and grouping to multiply. So we're talking about 2 times 3 is going to be the same as 3 times 2 because they have the same factor. They'll equal the same product. When you have 3 parts, 5 times 3 times 2, you can do 5 times 3 if it's in parentheses first, then times 2, or 3 times 2 in parentheses, then times 5. As long as you have the same factors, the order of the grouping won't matter too much. As long as you have the same factors and you're doing the same multiplication problems. With that being said, they were pretty good with the introduction to that today. We're going to continue on with that tomorrow and Wednesday. I have it in the plans for my sub for Thursday because I won't be here. I'll be in a wedding. My friend's getting married on Thursday. And then Friday, when I come back, we'll just kind of reiterate, regroup everything and see where they're at with that. We'll take our lesson 8 quiz as like a dipstick just to check in, see who's getting it and who's not, and who's not. Obviously, we'll continue working on those types of things with them. We took our first IAB, which was just a practice one. So we have it for the district. We have to do it on the computer. It's like our SBAC testing. So our IAB, which today was numbers in base 10. So there's some rounding, there's some addition, some subtraction. There's some questions that are, let's say, 375 minus 72 equals 682 minus 300 plus blank. So those types of questions are things that we model for them beforehand, but also modeling it now just to see how or see what they know on how to figure it out, right? So we always just put a line down between the equal sign and then figure out the side that we know with the side that we have all the information for in order to help us figure out the other one. So I'll put a little video in here about that of me. I'll show you how to do that and kind of what I'm talking about specifically. This is the type of problem I was discussing before. So students would have something that looks like this. And with this, the first step we tell them is split it up. Now side 1, this becomes, side 2, this becomes. So you have this here, let's stack it and subtract it. Being sure that you always start in your ones place and regroup as necessary. Now, what we tell them, this side equals 452. How do you make this side equal 452? First step, use what you know. 700 minus 300. I can do that. Still not your answer. We're trying to figure out the unknown number that makes this equation true. But remembering that these two sides are equal, because that's where we started. So now you have to take your 452, subtract the 400, because you have one part, a missing second part to equal that whole, and what are you left with? So this becomes your missing part back to the beginning. Well, it looks a little strange. It is the easiest way to describe and explain how to make side 1 equal side 2. Always starting with what you know, using the part of what you know to then figure out the answer. We worked through that. We got about halfway through our paper copy today. So it's like 8 questions. We'll finish the rest of them tomorrow. There's like 7 or 8 questions left. So we'll finish those tomorrow. And then we will put those answers into the computer system. So I will be assigning that computer test to them. But we like to do it on paper first, because that way then they're not just putting in any number and moving on. We give them the paper, we give them the time. You have to show your work. It allows me more time and better monitoring time, because I can see everybody's paper. I can't always see everyone's computer screen at the same time. So we like to do that. We like to do it on paper first, and then we use our answers. We input them into the computer. They're still taking it on their own. They're still doing their own testing, but it's definitely easier to do it that way. Once that's done, so that'll be now Monday's today, so Tuesday, so Wednesday, we'll go back to our regular groupings for Thursday, Friday, SRBI. When we're working in Benchmark, obviously for reading, we are working on rising action, climax, resolution, different parts of the story. We're looking at how illustrations shape the story. We already looked at how characters and their actions shape the story. So we're just kind of processing through now the fiction in Unit 2. We're still talking about characters. We're still talking about morals and stories of fables and things like that. So they're doing pretty well with that. We have a writing portion, which we're going to finish up at the end of the day today to prepare them to write their own opinion piece based on 2 of the ballads that we read last week in week 1 of Unit 2. So they'll reread, and then they have their worksheet where they have to describe. I'll put a picture in here so you can see it, but they'll have to tell me about which character. Their opinion writing is about which character is a more vivid character. So is it John Henry, or is it the village blacksmith? So they have to give me text evidence examples from the story, from the text, to tell me how they know based on what we've read. So they can choose either character, but they have to be able to back it up, right? So we're focused on our opinion writing, which you can see here. I have my nice little chart hung up, which I did not write with them because I do not write that neat and tidy when they're here. But it's up so they can refer back to it for now while we're doing our opinion section. So with that, I'm just going to go ahead. I have a whole classwork bin of papers to correct from Friday because we kind of boomed through everything on Friday. So I just quick boomed through a couple things before I left. It is 4:20, so I'm actually getting out of here like 15, 20 minutes later than I like to leave at 4 o'clock, but that's okay. I had, again, the wildest Monday morning, so a little bit later in the afternoon is no big deal. I got my science tests graded. Thank you. Woo-hoo. I have one friend who needs to take it and 2 friends who just need to submit it. So I'll have that one friend take it tomorrow and the other 2 submit it tomorrow, and then those will be done by tomorrow. So that's one more thing I checked off my to-do list. I double-checked my sub-plans for Thursday, so that's all set. All the worksheets are there, the books, anything, the teacher books, anything that she'll need, everything is there. I updated my Chromebook logins, which I needed to do because my cart got switched out on Friday. So I did that, checked that off. I added to my to-do list to create math lesson plans. Sorry, I was trying to read it as I'm like looking at my mumble jumble. Create my math lesson plans for next week, and then I'm going to try to do it also for the week after, just so we're kind of ahead. November's going to come and go in the blink of an eye, so we're going to see how quickly the holidays come. Once it's Halloween, November 1st is already Friday, and then boom, it's like 3 weeks till Thanksgiving, and then 4 weeks till Christmas. It's just like everything starts to just fly. 4 or 5 weeks till Christmas, but it's like boom, 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 one thing after the other, and then it's January, and you're preparing for SBAC in March. It's like April, but it's like crazy. So Only got 3 things left on my to-do list. One is this whole classwork bin still, but that's going to be a little chip away at a little time, a little bit. I am meeting with my grade level partners during prep tomorrow, so that should go over very well. We're going to just kind of check on each other and see how we're doing. And then wanted to show you our cute little staff incentive. So thanks for wrapping yourself up in your work this Halloween season. You are doing a beautiful job serving our children. So super cute little mummy chocolates for the holiday season. Love my staff. Thanks, y'all. Morning, happy Tuesday. I actually did my hair today, so I'm feeling real cute and loving myself. It's the little things in life that you got to do to make it through. So with that being said, we're gonna just dive in today. We've got a lot going on. We're finishing our math IAB, so we're continuing to model this one, help the kids get to the point of answering the questions. They're answering the questions by themselves. We're moving into characters and their moods, so we're still working on inferencing, using text evidence for reasoning and such in reading and writing, but we're focused on the characters and how their moods can influence the story, how their actions influence the story, and how their actions kind of influence each other. So we're working through that still in reading, because we're still in Unit 2. We've got a lot of little things in between. I've got a couple like people coming in and a couple other things going on. So today's going to be a little funky, but we're going to make it through. It's going to be crazy because any little twist to their schedule is disruptive, obviously. I mean, it is to us as adults, so imagine kids who just strive on that, structure. But we're going to do our best. We'll stop when we have to. We'll redirect when we have to, and we'll just take it 1 minute, one lesson, one step at a time. I am going to be going through some emails to make sure that I have everything moving forward, and then, oh, my lights just turned off. I've been sitting in the same spot too long. And then that's really it. We're just going to dive in and get through the day. Yeah. I turned my lights off because I just need quiet. Today has been insane. When I say we, I mean they, but I try to be more polite. Just can't get it together. Every little snicker, sneer, noise, laugh is just like dramatic today. Like they're just lost. Everything is just all over the place. So we're having a really hard time today. It's lunch and recess, then they have special. So I'm going to just kind of sit and take the end of the day like 1 minute at a time. We're going to talk a lot about today. I got to the point where even I was feeling really frustrated. I had to stop. They were working on their own at that point, so I had to stop what I was doing to kind of redirect myself. It was more from like inner redirection out, but I needed them to know that, adults, teachers, we're human too, and we make mistakes. Yes, obviously, we own our mistakes, and that's part of the thing that I try to teach my third graders is you're growing up. You need to be big third graders. You're big kids now. Respect and responsibility, which I've always spoke on since I started here years ago in this district. I've always been about respect and responsibility, and they're big third graders now. They're growing into, it's almost November, so we've had 2 whole months of school. And yes, we're going to have our bad days, but I definitely had to stop and just kind of inner peace, find my inner peace today. But I did have a serious conversation with them because I wanted them to know that, I'm here to help them. And I know they know that, but I really needed to resonate with them today because a lot of them, I was trying to walk through and help them through. I was telling you, we're modeling our first math IAB because it's the first one. They've never seen them before. We got to take them, whatever. And so we're modeling it. So I was trying to walk through and give them the advice, right? So I did the whole model on the board, and then I'm walking through and monitoring. And as I'm monitoring, I'm noticing some of them are just putting anything, or they're not caring. I have a lot of kids that just want so much to learn so much, and that's why I'm here, right? That's why we teach. But then there's some kids that either they just get too frustrated too easily, or they just want to give up, or honestly, I do have a couple friends that really just don't care about education. I had one last year that told me third grade was it and wanted to quit third grade. Obviously, that's not how education works. That's not how life works. So we had a more serious conversation about that. But just today has been very off, and I definitely sat down at one point and just spoke to them, and I said, listen, I really need you guys to understand, like, I'm here to do my job. My job is to help you. When you're not accepting my help, it saddens me, and it's, quite frankly, a little frustrating that you're not accepting what I'm willing to give. As teachers, we give our all. I mean, we give more than our all, but a lot of times you just want them to be the best that they can be, and when they're having a hard time seeing that, or a hard time getting through that, it's hard for us to process too, because again, we are human, and we're in this because we care, and we want to see them grow. We want to see them make progress, and when they just kind of give up and shut down, it's really saddening. So I had a serious conversation with them about that today during math. I mean, we stopped and we talked about that. So I'm going to have another kind of just end of day, like a restorative circle, but, just like an open conversation, kind of open the floor, use our little koosh ball, and only that person is talking. But we're just going to kind of bring it back together today. We've definitely had a rough day, and we need some moments and some time to talk it through. So we're going to do that at the end of the day, and hopefully that'll help for a better tomorrow. I know it's the week of Halloween. I know they're, excited and happy. And I said that to them. I said, guys, I know you're excited. I know Halloween's coming. I'm excited. We're all amped up. I was like, but we have to learn to control that excitement in order to be able to still learn, because we do have to learn. That's why we're in school. So a little bit in between, but we'll get through it, and we'll make it work, and we'll talk about it. It's very important to get it out and talk about things. I had a long conversation with a coworker this morning. We just needed each other. We needed to bounce some things off each other. So I'm going to do that with the kids and let them, have their moments to discuss with each other, and I'll, interject as needed. But definitely, it worked. It helped us last time. We definitely were able to get through it last time. So I hope that it'll help this time too. We'll see. Hi. I had another teacher come in this morning, so I did not get a chance to tell you about my morning and my plans, but that's okay. It's lunchtime now, so I'm going to eat, and then I'm going to pull apart their desks, because holy moly, have we not been able to get it together today. It has been a day. Okay, so when these days happen, I like to stop and reflect. I like to stop them, because we can't teach if they're not focused. Our job is to teach. We can't do that job if we have kids falling all over the floor out of their chairs on purpose, looking for attention. If we have kids making noises, if we have kids bursting out in laughter for no reason. So we stop. We stop, we pause, we talk, and reflect. I've had to do that about 7 times in just the last hour and a half. To say it's been a rough Monday is the least I could say. With that being said, I also have some friends who are eager to learn, so I've been teaching to those friends. Obviously, I've been teaching to everybody. But those friends who are purposely disrupting and purposely looking for attention, those are the friends that you teach to, knowing that they'll get out of your lesson what they want. And unfortunately, sometimes that's just how it goes. So you teach your lesson, You call on everybody. You try to engage in everybody. Some friends are very disengaged because they just can't get it together. And it has nothing to do with you as a teacher. Plain and simple. Some days are just really rough for us. Some days are really rough for them, individually, whole class. Doesn't matter. Depends on the day. But don't put it on yourself. Unless you're just like crazy and have zero classroom management, which then you got to figure it out. And I'm here to help you. Write it out, reflect, change their desks, move their seats, pull apart the friends. Anybody who's noisy, put them on an island. They can sit to the side by themselves. They don't need to be in groups. They don't need to be in partners. They can learn however is going to be best for them. Give them fidgets, things that I started doing last week. A couple friends will be getting some lap bands that go on the front of their chair or on the front of their desk, straight across, and they can kick and fiddle with that while they're learning. Sometimes it helps. Sometimes it becomes a distraction, but you won't know until you try. So my suggestion is, on days like this, you stop. You take a couple ibuprofen for the headache that you have, and you reflect. Write it out. Figure out exactly who's doing what, where it's happening, why it's happening. Is it during math? Is it during reading or writing? Or are they bored? Is it what's happening is happening for a reason. So stop. Think about it. Figure it out. Talk with them. A lot of times they know what's happening and they can tell you why they're acting this way or why they're feeling this way or why they can't control it or why, be it whatever it is. And I'm not talking about friends who have IEPs. I'm talking about regular gen ed students. If there's no reason for them to be acting this way, then there's no reason for them to be acting this way. They have work to do. They understand the work. They ask questions if they don't. You help those who don't want to ask questions, but you know that they have questions because you as the teacher know your kids. Whatever it is, just stop and reflect. You'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. Hey, I've been doing this for years. Some days, it's just crazy. Some days you just can't get it together. It happens. It happens to the best of us. It happens to the worst of us, but it also happens to the best of us. And you know what? We figure it out. So decompose, de-stress, deep breaths, and relax. I'm going to go have lunch now. Then I'm going to pull their seats apart and put them on islands and only have about 8 kids. It's like half my class. In 2 small groups. Everybody else will be on an island until they can prove to me that they can get back into a group or that they can even sit with a partner and not distract themselves. Their actions, their consequences. Part of our reading lesson today. Should the bird peck the ground, the little rooster, to eat the nugget, get his beak dirty? Or should he not peck the ground? If he pecks the ground and gets his beak dirty, he can't go to his uncle's wedding. Now he causes a problem and makes a problem for himself. It's all about controlling yourself. It's even in our reading. Definitely trying to stay ahead. Today was a crazy day, so I can't just leave. I kind of have to just stop, reflect, and do some things while I'm here before I leave to go get my kid because I don't like to take any of this home with me. So if I get some stuff done before I leave here, I'll feel a lot better. And then I can just go home and be mom and not be teacher mom and kind of dwelling on everything because, as a teacher, we always take everything home with us, which, yes, it stinks. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it. Close the door, but it's still in your mind. It's still stuff that wakes you up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. That's such is the life of the stress and crazy of teacher living. So with that being said, I'm going through our remade calendar for Benchmark. I'm just sitting here with my agenda open, just kind of using the dates that they gave us. They gave us a couple wiggle days in between now, instead of forcing everything into the whole year the first year we're using it. So I'm just kind of going through and mapping out the next 2 units just to stay ahead, and kind of know where I'm going. I'd never like to be behind, so definitely knowing where I'm going is my favorite thing. I'm a big planner, and I think it's really important that as teachers we stay ahead and we keep planning and keep moving forward. So with that being said, I'm just going to sit here, go through the rest of this Unit 3, Unit 4, and see where I end up before I leave. Happy Friday. It has been a week. I haven't been on here in 2 whole days because holy cow. So let me recap you real quick. Tuesday we were off for, what was it, election day? So we were off. We had meetings all day. Meetings went well. It was benchmark focused on writing. So we got some tips and tricks about where our kids should be across the district. None of our kids are there in 3rd grade, but as first year benchmark is being implemented, we are not super concerned. We're hoping they'll get there by the end of the year. Some will, some won't. But when they get into 4th grade, they'll have the 2nd year exposure, 5th grade, and so on and so on. So by the time kindergartners get to us in 4 years, they should be on the benchmark grade level. So we're focused on the reading, the writing, kind of putting it all together, just giving them the basic skills and the baseline for them to be prepared for benchmark next year, 4th grade. And then 4th grade will do the same, and so on, as kindergarten and them are doing that vertical progression. Kindergarten is doing it now, so they're ready for 1st grade, 1st grade's for 2nd, and so on. So hopefully that vertical progression will show growth, which in other areas of our school it has. We actually became a school of distinction again, which is great. It's phenomenal. I'm super excited about that. So with that being said, that was Tuesday. Wednesday, we had a really bad day in here. I had 3 other teachers come in to support me with classroom behavior. My management is normally good. I'm clearly not doing something right. I know I always say, don't blame it on you. It's never you. It's never us. But it's us in conjunction with them sometimes. And there's some things that I think I need to tweak. I'm giving out some self-awareness charts. Calling them blurt charts, because I have a lot of friends who just shout out or pop out with noises and distractions during our lessons. So every time there's a blurt, they're going to have to owe me a minute of working time because they're playing during learning time. It's not students who can't control it or don't know how to control it, so it's not anything that I need to be super concerned about, but it is a way for me to make them self-aware of how many times we're stopping to redirect the behaviors. And I will also be keeping track myself, so they can't just like erase them, or, a lot of people do dry erase. Some people do stickers, especially for younger kids, 3rd grades. I'm just going to give them a piece of paper. They're going to do it on their desks, and I'm going to do it on my board up here so I can have the total as well. Some friends, unfortunately, are not honest and do like to try to erase or get rid of, but I will keep it here so I have the final count as well for end of day stuff. We'll be touching base more with parents about blurts and just inconsistencies in behaviors and how we need to redirect so often that we're losing out on instructional learning time. So that's a focus there. That was really what Wednesday was all wrapped up in. Wednesday, Thursday, and today we finished our Unit 2 for benchmark. So today we did some poetry and we talked about personifications. I gave them a little example about when I was in school and how my teacher had us identifying personifications in writing. So that was fun. That was a fun little side lesson, for them to do. And I taught them that. So that was exciting. We'll be doing our reviewing next week for benchmark, and then we'll take our assessment next week as well. So we'll review 2 days, or assess for 2 days, and the 3rd day for assessing if necessary, if any kids need to finish up. We are going to let them go on their own this time, instead of just kind of stopping them along the way. So we'll see how that works. And then for Unit 3, we'll decide if we want to give them a certain number each day or if we just want to let them go and let them kind of do what they do best and see how well they do. So with that, Unit 2 is done for benchmark. Math, we are currently talking about multiplication and division, how they're related. So we did a lot of fact families. We're doing arrays by building them with multiplication sentences and then reversing those multiplication sentences into division sentences so we can pull them apart and break them into small equal groups as well. So we're working through all of that. Main focus for me right now is these behaviors. I want to make sure we get them under control because it is like week 11 or 12, 11 I think, maybe even 10, I don't know. But we've been here long enough already that these behaviors shouldn't be continuing at this point. So I've been doing a lot of reflecting. I think I've said this on here before, but I want you to write, reflect, talk with others, brainstorm, think about how you can do what you need to do in order to get it done and have it beneficial for everyone, for them, for their learning, most importantly, but also for you so you can do your job. I mean, you're here to do a job. You're here to teach, right? That's why you got into teaching, so you can give the knowledge that you have to others. So with that, happy Friday. I may or may not be able to pop back in because I do have an appointment after school, but if not, we'll see what next week brings.